Miran loved places that others had forgotten. He was not a great leader or a famous traveler, but he had a heart that searched for hidden wonders. On Earth, many old buildings were now empty and broken, yet Miran often walked among them. Where others saw dust and silence, he saw the chance of discovery. One afternoon, Miran found himself in an abandoned library. The roof had fallen in, and broken shelves leaned against cracked walls. Most of the books were ruined by water or eaten by time. He moved carefully, brushing away sand and dirt. He liked the way light from the broken roof fell through, shining in small golden lines on the floor. At first, there was nothing unusual. Old pages crumbled under his fingers and pieces of glass cracked under his boots. Then his hand touched something smooth under a pile of torn cloth. He pulled and found a thin metal case. The lid was heavy with dust but still closed tight. With patience, Miran pushed it open. Inside was a folded sheet, not paper but something stronger, like fabric and stone together. Strange colors gleamed as he held it up to the sunlight. It was a map, but unlike any map of Earth he had ever seen. The stars were drawn in shining lines, and at the center was a symbol shaped like a great sun, yet not a normal one. The sun on the map looked made of crystal, with sharp edges that caught light. At the bottom of the map, in letters that were clear though old, were words written in a language he could still read. The chamber of the crystal sun. Gold that shone like daylight. Miran's heart beat faster. He had heard stories of places beyond Earth, hidden across the stars where great treasures waited, but this felt different. The map seemed alive, as if it wanted to guide him. The symbol of the crystal sun glowed faintly even in the dusty library. That night, Miran sat with his closest friend Ryan, who was also a traveler of the stars. Ryan had a small ship, not strong enough for war or trade, but strong enough to follow a dream. Miran placed the map on the table and the soft glow filled the room. "This cannot be a mistake," Miran said. "Look at how the lines show the path of the stars. It points to a system I have never seen on any chart. And the symbol of the sun, it is no ornament. It must be something real." Ryan looked closely and nodded slowly. "It may be a guide left by those who traveled before us. Many legends speak of light kept safe inside chambers. If this gold of daylight is true, it would be more than treasure. It could be a gift to worlds in need." Miran felt the truth of those words. Earth was dim now. Many cities lived in shadow because power was short. If there was light hidden on another world, pure and endless, it could give hope. Within days, Miran and Ryan prepared for the journey. 2 more joined them. Sierra, who was skilled in reading ancient signs, and Dalen, who kept the ship in order. Together they studied the map and fed its star lines into their ship's pathfinder. The lines curved in strange patterns as if teaching them step by step how to reach the hidden world. The day came when they rose into the sky. From the window of the ship, Miran looked down at Earth, blue and green but covered with many dark cities. He whispered a promise to himself that he would return with light. The journey was long. Stars passed like rivers of fire outside their windows, and time seemed slow, but the map guided them faithfully. At moments when the ship's path grew unclear, the map glowed brighter and the lines adjusted themselves. It was as if someone long ago had built a living guide. During the quiet hours, Miran thought of the words written on the map. Gold that shone like daylight. He wondered what that gold could be. Was it real treasure, or was it energy that glowed like the sun? Was it meant for one person or for all humankind? Weeks later, the ship slowed as they neared the system marked on the map. The main star of the system was soft and pale, not bright like Earth's sun. Around it turned several planets, but one shone strangely. Its deserts reflected silver light, and tall structures glimmered even from far away. As the ship drew closer, Miran felt a calm rise within him. This was no ordinary world. Something waited here, something left behind with care and purpose. The map stopped glowing as they approached orbit, as if saying its task was complete. Miran held the map one last time before setting it aside. "We have followed your lines. Now we will see if the legend is true." The ship prepared to land. The surface of the planet was waiting. The air around the silver desert seemed still, like a breath held for ages. In that silence, Miran felt both fear and wonder. The chamber of the crystal sun was near, and the first steps of their journey had only begun. The ship touched down gently on the strange planet. Its surface was wide and open, covered with endless deserts that shimmered like silver glass. The sky was pale blue, almost white, and the sun in this system gave little warmth. The silence was heavy, so deep that even the sound of their steps seemed swallowed by the air. Miran looked out across the horizon. The desert stretched far, with dunes that glittered as though filled with crushed crystals. Rising from the sands were tall towers of stone, each shaped like giant spires. They caught the weak sunlight and reflected it in sharp beams. From a distance, the towers looked alive, like watchful guardians. Rian studied the nearest spire through a small viewer. These towers are not natural. Their edges are too clean. Someone built them long ago. Sira nodded and traced lines on her tablet. The symbols on the map may connect with these towers. Look at how they point in different directions. They may guide us towards something hidden. Miran felt excitement grow inside him. He had always dreamed of walking in places where no one else dared to go. Now here he was, standing on a world that seemed untouched by time. The group moved carefully across the desert. Their boots sank slightly into the silver sand, which sparkled with every step. It was soft but also strange, for it carried a faint glow even though the sun above was weak. Dalen bent down and lifted a handful of the sand. In his palm, the grains looked like tiny pieces of glass. "This sand remembers the light," Dalen said with wonder. "Even when the sun fades, it keeps shining." As they walked, Miran noticed how the towers caught the sunlight. The beams from their surfaces stretched across the desert like long fingers of fire. At first it seemed random, but soon he saw a pattern. The beams crossed each other and formed shapes like arrows pointing in one direction. "Look there," Miran called out. "The towers are guiding us. The light shows the way." They followed the beams until they reached a valley hidden between two low ridges. Here the air was cooler and the sand seemed smoother. The beams from the towers all gathered at this place, shining together like a single path. In the center of the valley stood a stone circle. 12 tall stones surrounded a flat space in the middle. Each stone had marks carved into it, lines and curves that glowed faintly. Sira stepped forward and touched one of the carvings. The stone hummed, a low and gentle sound that filled the air like music. "These are not just stones," Sira said softly. "They are markers. They speak in sound, not words." Miran placed his hand on another stone. It too began to hum, but in a slightly different note. Soon the circle of stones sang together, their tones rising and falling like voices. The air seemed alive with harmony. Ryan closed his eyes and listened. "It feels like they are welcoming us, or perhaps they are asking if we understand." The song of the stones faded slowly and the glow in the carvings dimmed. For a moment silence returned, deeper than before. Miran looked around the circle, wondering what they were meant to do next. Night began to fall. The pale sun dipped low and shadows stretched across the valley. Yet the desert did not turn dark. Instead, the silver sand began to glow brighter, shining with a calm white light. It was as if the ground itself became a lamp, refusing to let the night be dark. The travelers rested near the stone circle. Miran lay back on the glowing sand and stared at the sky. Stars spread across the heavens, brighter than he had ever seen from Earth. Among them, one star shone more strongly, golden instead of white. It reminded him of the crystal sun on the map. "This planet is silent," Miran whispered to himself, "but it is not empty. It remembers the ones who built these towers, and it is waiting for us to listen." The next morning they rose with clear purpose. Miran walked once more into the circle of stones. He pressed his hand firmly on the central flat space. The ground trembled slightly and a line of light spread across the floor, stretching outward like a path. The line glowed gold, not silver. It moved across the valley, leading into the desert beyond. "The stones have shown us the way," Sira said with awe. Miran nodded. "This is the golden path the map promised. We must follow it. The chamber is waiting." With quiet steps, the group prepared their packs and walked into the desert once again. The glowing path shone before them, bright and steady, as if carved by the hands of light itself. Though the planet was silent, the path seemed to speak, telling them they were closer to the truth. Miran felt his heart lift. The legend was real, and each step brought them nearer to the chamber of the crystal sun. The silent planet was no longer just a place of mystery. It was a guide, and it was leading them into the heart of its secret. The golden line that shone from the circle of stones did not fade with the rising sun. It glowed gently across the desert floor, as if the planet itself wanted to guide the travelers forward. Miran stepped onto the path first, and as soon as his boot touched it, The line brightened, stretching ahead like a river of light. The others followed. Ryan looked around with careful eyes. "It feels alive," he said. "This path responds to us as though it knows we are here." Sierra bent low and placed her hand near the glowing stones. They were warm, not hot, but filled with a steady energy that pulsed like a heartbeat. "These are no ordinary stones," she whispered. "They have been made to remember the sun. Someone shaped them long ago, not for decoration but for purpose." They walked in silence, letting the path lead them. The desert around them was vast, silver and endless, but the golden line gave them certainty. They were no longer lost wanderers. They were guests being guided to something greater. Hours passed. The sun above moved slowly, casting soft shadows across the dunes. Miran noticed carvings along the stones that lined the path. They were faint and worn, yet still clear enough to see. Each stone carried a small picture. Some showed people lifting their arms toward a bright light. Others showed shapes of stars, circles, and rays that looked like the shining sun on the map. "These are messages," Sierra said as she studied them, "not in words but in story. They tell of travelers who once came here searching for light that would not fade. It seems this path was made for those who were worthy of reaching the chamber." Miran felt a quiet pride. Perhaps this place had waited for humans to arrive. Perhaps the builders had known one day, far in the future, others would come seeking more than gold. As the group walked further, the path began to hum. The sound was soft, almost like a song carried by the wind. Each step they took made the light beneath their feet pulse brighter. Dalen looked around uneasily but then smiled. "It is as if the ground is singing for us," he said. At the far end of the golden line, the travelers saw a tall structure rise from the sand. It was not like the spires they had seen earlier. This one was wider, shaped like a great arch. Its surface was crystal clear but filled with sparks of gold that moved slowly inside, like fireflies caught in glass. "This must be the gate," Miran said, his voice steady with wonder. The golden path ended directly at the base of the arch. When they stepped closer, the arch gave a soft glow, spreading across its surface in waves. It stood silent yet alive, like a door waiting to be opened. Ryan placed his hand against it. The surface was smooth and warm, and the golden sparks inside swirled around his palm. But nothing else happened. Sierra studied the arch with sharp eyes. "It is not meant to open with force," she said. "Look at the surface. Do you see how it reflects us?" They all stepped back. The arch had indeed turned reflective, like a tall mirror of crystal. Each traveler saw themselves standing before it, but the reflections were not normal. Ryan's reflection showed him carrying a heavy pack, as if burdened by more than his share. Dalen's reflection showed him gazing at the ship as though wishing to return home. Sierra's reflection displayed her holding books and scrolls, her hunger for knowledge shining brighter than her patience. Miran looked at his own reflection and felt his breath catch. He saw himself standing before a broken city on Earth, holding the glowing map. Behind him, people stood in darkness, waiting for light. His reflection showed no gold, no riches, only the weight of responsibility. The crystal arch pulsed once, as though listening. Miran stepped forward. "We did not come for treasure," he said aloud. His voice was firm, though soft. "We came for light. Earth is dim. Our people need hope. If there is a gift here, it should shine for all, not for one." The arch glowed brighter, and the golden sparks inside began to move faster. Slowly, the reflective surface faded until the crystal turned clear again. A deep hum filled the air, strong yet gentle. The arch opened in silence, revealing a tunnel that sloped downward into the planet. Its walls shone like polished stone, lined with streaks of light that glimmered like captured sunlight. The travelers exchanged looks of awe. Dalen's voice trembled with wonder. "It has accepted us. It has chosen to let us in." Miran nodded, but his heart was calm. He knew the test had not been about strength or cleverness. It had been about honesty. The builders of this place had wanted to be sure that whoever entered sought more than gold. With steady steps, they entered the tunnel. The light from the walls wrapped around them like warm hands. The air was cool but alive, filled with energy that seemed to hum with purpose. Each step took them deeper, away from the desert above and closer to the heart of the mystery. Miran looked ahead into the glowing passage. He knew they were approaching the true secret of this world. The chamber of the crystal sun. The golden path had brought them here, but what waited beyond was something even greater. The tunnel stretched far into the planet. Its walls glimmered with threads of gold and silver, shining softly as if they carried the memory of sunlight. Each step echoed, yet the echoes did not fade quickly. Instead, they seemed to blend with the hum of the glowing walls. Moran walked at the front, holding steady to the path. Behind him, Sira studied the shining streaks with careful eyes, tracing them with her fingers as if they were words in a hidden language. Ryan and Dalen followed, keeping their senses sharp, though the place felt more welcoming than dangerous. After a long walk, the tunnel opened into a wide chamber. The ceiling rose high, arched and smooth like a giant dome of crystal. At the far side stood another gate taller than the first. It was shaped like a great oval, glowing faintly with golden sparks that drifted inside the crystal surface. The group paused. The gate gave the sense of something alive, as if it were waiting for them. "This must be the true entrance," Rian said quietly, "but it looks sealed." Moran stepped forward and studied the gate. Its surface reflected like a mirror. He saw himself standing before it, but as he looked longer, he noticed the reflection was not the same. His mirrored self was not calm but uncertain, holding the map close to his chest with fear in his eyes. "This is no ordinary reflection," Moran said. Sira moved closer and gazed at her own image. Her reflection showed her carrying endless scrolls, clinging to knowledge while her friends walked away in shadow. She felt her breath tighten. "It reveals our hidden hearts," she whispered. "Not what we show outside, but what lies within." Ryan stepped to the side and faced his reflection. He saw himself burdened with heavy supplies, bending under the weight while others rested. His reflection showed weariness that he often tried to hide. Dalen frowned at his image. His reflection looked away from the chamber and toward the stars, as though wishing to return to their ship rather than move forward. Silence filled the chamber. The gate shimmered, its golden sparks swirling faster as if waiting for something more. Moran understood. The builders had placed this test not to keep travelers away, but to ask for truth. He turned to his friends. "It wants us to speak. Not lies, not masks, but the truth of why we came. Only then will it open." Ryan nodded slowly. He placed a hand on his chest. "I fear the weight of carrying too much. I fear failing my friends because I cannot hold everything alone. But I also know I am here because I believe this light may help Earth. I wish to carry that hope even if the weight is heavy." His reflection softened, the burden fading from its shoulders. Sira stepped forward. "I hunger for knowledge, yes. I have always chased secrets and forgotten stories. But I am not here to keep them only for myself. I am here because I want to bring wisdom back to those who have lost it. If this chamber holds light, I will share it, not guard it." Her reflection changed. The scrolls faded, and instead she stood beside her friends in the image. Dalen took a deep breath. "I long for home. I fear the unknown. But I joined this journey because I believed in Moran's dream. I wish to see Earth filled with light, not shadows. Even if I am afraid, I will walk forward." His reflection straightened, no longer looking away but facing the chamber with quiet courage. Finally, Moran turned back to his reflection. "I am afraid too," he said softly. "I fear failing the people who wait for light. I fear this journey may end with nothing but silence. But I came because Earth is dim. Our cities are weak. Our children grow in darkness. If there is light here, I want to bring it home not for gold but for life." The fear in his reflection faded. Instead, the image showed him standing tall, the crystal sun shining behind him. The golden sparks inside the gate flared bright, swirling faster and faster until the whole surface glowed. The chamber filled with warmth, and the hum of the walls grew louder, steady and strong like the beating of a heart. Then, without sound, the gate opened. The crystal surface melted away, revealing another passage filled with golden light. The travelers stood in awe. The test had not been of strength or cleverness, but of truth. Only honesty had opened the way. Moran turned to his friends. His voice was calm but full of wonder. "The chamber accepts those who walk with honest hearts. We have passed. Now we must see what lies beyond." Together they stepped through the shining gate. The golden light wrapped around them, brighter than before but gentle, never harsh. The air smelled fresh, carrying a hint of warmth like a summer morning on Earth. As they moved forward, Moran felt a rising certainty. They were closer than ever to the secret at the heart of this world. The chamber of the crystal sun was no longer just a legend. It was real, and it was waiting for them. The golden passage grew wider as the travelers walked forward. Its walls glowed with steady light, soft yet bright enough to guide their steps without effort. The air felt different here, fresh and warm, as if they were no longer deep inside a cold planet but standing near the heart of a living world. Moran led the way, his heart racing with hope. Behind him, Sira, Ryan, and Dalen moved in silence, each of them listening to the hum that surrounded them. The sound was low and calm, almost like the steady breath of the planet itself. At last, the passage opened into a vast hall. The travelers stopped in awe. The ceiling rose so high that it seemed to touch the heavens. Crystal pillars stretched from floor to roof, each one glowing with golden light that reflected across the chamber. The walls sparkled as though filled with countless stars, but the greatest wonder stood at the center. A sphere of pure light floated above a wide stone platform. It shone like a small sun, its glow gentle yet strong. The golden rays reached every corner of the chamber, filling it with warmth. The sphere pulsed slowly like a living heart of light. Moran could not move at first. His eyes filled with wonder. "The chamber of the crystal sun," he whispered. "It is real." The others stepped forward, drawn by the glow. The closer they came, the warmer the air grew. It was not heat that burned, but warmth that healed. Their tiredness faded, and their thoughts became clear. Sira gazed at the walls. Moving images appeared across the shining surface as though the chamber wanted to speak. Stars turned, planets formed, and bright suns rose and faded. She pointed at the shifting lights. "This place holds memories," she said. "It is a library made not of books but of light itself." Ryan touched one of the crystal pillars. The pillar gave a soft sound, a tone that blended with the hum of the chamber. He closed his eyes and felt peace wash through him. "This is no treasure," he said quietly. "It is a gift left for those who search with honest hearts." Moran stepped closer to the sphere. The light did not blind him. Instead, it felt as if the sphere welcomed him, wrapping him in warmth. He saw images in the glow, cities filled with sunlight, people smiling, green fields bright with life. He thought of Earth, dim and tired, and his heart tightened with hope. Suddenly, the sphere pulsed brighter. A beam of light reached out, stretching toward the travelers. They stepped back in surprise, but the light was gentle. It touched each of them in turn, filling their bodies with calm strength. Their fears faded, replaced by a sense of purpose. From the center of the sphere, something began to form. Slowly, a small crystal shard separated itself from the light. It floated downward, glowing with the same golden shine as the chamber. The shard landed softly on the platform before Moran. The group stood in silence, staring at it. The shard glowed like a piece of the sun, yet it did not burn. It seemed endless, as though the light inside would never fade. Dalen stepped forward carefully. "It has given us a part of itself," he said with awe. "This is the gold that shines like daylight." Moran lifted the shard with both hands. It was warm and light, humming softly like a living thing. He understood at once what it meant. The builders of this chamber had left behind not only a memory but also a gift. A gift for any who would come with truth in their hearts. "This shard is not for one person," Moran said firmly. "It is for all. We must take it back to Earth. We must share its light." The others nodded. Their hearts agreed. As they stood in the chamber, the walls glowed brighter as if pleased with their choice. The images of stars and planets danced more vividly. It was as though the chamber itself was blessing their mission. Sira bowed her head in respect. The builders of this place trusted the future. They knew someone would come in need. They left their son behind, not to be worshipped, but to be shared. Ryan placed his hand on Moran's shoulder. "We have found what we sought. Now we must carry it home." The group turned slowly, ready to leave the chamber. But Moran looked back one last time. The great sphere of light still floated above the platform, pulsing gently, eternal and alive. He felt a bond with it, as if it had chosen him not only to carry its shard, but also to carry its story. The chamber of the crystal sun remained behind, glowing for anyone who might come in the far future. Yet now, for the first time, a piece of its light would travel across the stars. Moran held the shard close, his heart steady with purpose. He knew this was more than treasure. This was hope. The travelers left the glowing chamber slowly, carrying the golden shard carefully. The tunnel that had led them here seemed brighter now, as if the chamber's light followed them. Every step they took felt lighter. Even the silver sand of the desert outside seemed to sparkle more warmly in the faint sun. Miran held the shard in his hands and felt its gentle pulse. It was not heavy, but it carried a warmth that spread through his body. The shard seemed alive, humming quietly as if it had a voice meant only for those who understood it. Sira walked beside him, her eyes shining. "This is more than gold or treasure," she said softly. "It is light. It heals, it strengthens, and it reminds us that the world can be bright again." Ryan nodded. "It is meant to be shared, not kept. Whoever uses it wisely will carry hope to many." Dalen looked around at the desert. The towers still reflected the sun's faint light, but now their beams seemed to point toward the travelers as though guiding them back to their ship. "The planet wants us to leave," he said. "It has given us what we came for." The group followed the path of glowing stones back to their ship. The shard in Miran's hands pulsed brighter as they walked. Even the hum of the desert seemed to respond, rising and falling in rhythm with their steps. When they reached the ship, Miran carefully placed the shard in a special compartment designed to carry it safely. The crystal glowed, filling the cabin with gentle gold light. It was so bright that it almost seemed to replace the weak sunlight outside. As the ship lifted off, the travelers looked back at the planet. Its towers and glowing sands were far below, silent and calm. The desert seemed to watch them leave, as if it understood that its gift had found worthy hands. The journey back to Earth was quiet at first. Each traveler thought in their own way about what they had seen. Miran held the shard and felt its warmth reach his heart. He thought of cities dimmed by shadow, of children who had never seen real sunlight, and of people who had lost hope. "This light," he said quietly, "is not for us alone. It must reach home." Sira smiled. "We were chosen not for skill or strength, but for honesty. That is what makes this gift special. It will change more than we can imagine," Ryan added. "It is not magic, not in the way stories say. It is energy, pure and steady, meant to help those who need it most. If we use it wisely, we can give the world a second chance." Dalen leaned back in his seat. "I thought I came for adventure. I did not expect to carry hope for millions." He laughed softly, though it was full of wonder. "It feels heavier than any pack I have carried, but lighter at the same time." The golden shard pulsed steadily as the ship moved through space. Its glow filled the cabin, spreading warmth to every corner. The travelers noticed that even their minds felt sharper, their thoughts clear. Problems that had seemed confusing before now made sense. They realized that the shard was more than light. It was wisdom in energy form. When Earth appeared in the distance, the travelers felt their hearts lift. Cities glimmered dimly under the weak sun. The people below were unaware of the gift coming from the stars, but soon their lives would change forever. Miran carefully lifted the shard as the ship approached the first city. He watched as the golden glow spread, filling streets and buildings with steady warm light. People looked up, startled at first, then smiled. Flowers and gardens opened, children laughed, and the dark corners of the city seemed to disappear. "It is working," Sira said, her eyes wide. "The light reaches everywhere." Ryan added, "It is more than we imagined." "The world feels alive again." Dalen nodded. "It is like the planet itself is sharing its heartbeat with Earth." Miran held the shard high. "This is only the beginning. If we share this light, we can give hope to every city, every field, every person. We can bring daylight even to the darkest places." The travelers stayed in the city for a long moment, watching as the golden light spread. They felt a quiet joy, knowing they had fulfilled the purpose of their journey. The chamber of the crystal sun had trusted them with a gift, and they had carried it faithfully. As night fell, the city remained bright with the shard's energy. Its glow was steady, never harsh, gentle yet strong. Miran looked at his friends and felt deep gratitude. Together, they had not only found the chamber, but they had also brought hope back to a dim world. The golden shard pulsed softly in his hands. It was a living promise, a gift of daylight that could never fade as long as humans cherished it and used it wisely. The travelers looked down at Earth from the ship's window. The planet glimmered faintly under the weak sun, cities dim, fields gray, and people moving quietly through their daily routines. Miran held the golden shard in his hands. Its warm light filled the cabin, spilling across the faces of his friends and casting long, gentle shadows. "This is what we came for," Miran said softly. "Not to take, but to give. To bring hope where it is needed most." Sira nodded. The chamber trusted us and we must honor that trust. The light is meant for everyone. Rion checked the ship's instruments. We have enough power to reach the largest cities first. From there, the light will spread on its own. It is steady, endless, and safe. Dalen adjusted the ship's course. Let's make sure it reaches every place in need. The chamber gave us a gift that can change the world. We cannot waste a moment. The ship descended slowly into the first city. Its streets were quiet, lit only by weak lamps and fading sunlight. Miran held the shard high. Golden light poured from it, spilling over buildings, streets, and gardens. People looked up, shielding their eyes, and then gasped as the light filled the city. Children ran outside, laughing. Flowers in gardens opened their petals, turning toward the new glow. Families gathered in open spaces, pointing at the golden shimmer that seemed to touch every corner. The air itself felt warmer, lighter, as if the planet had taken a deep breath after a long sleep. This is only the beginning, Miran said, smiling. The light will reach everyone. The travelers moved from city to city. With each place the shard touched, golden light spread steadily, bringing warmth, hope, and joy. People were no longer afraid of darkness. Gardens grew fuller and rivers sparkled under the steady glow. Everywhere the shard shone, life seemed to awaken. Sira watched as people helped each other. It is not just the light that changes things, she said. It is the hope it brings. People see that even in darkness something pure and bright exists. Ryan agreed. The chamber's gift is teaching them to believe again. That is stronger than any power we could have brought. Dalen laughed softly, watching children chase shadows made by the golden glow. I thought adventure was about danger and discovery. But this is the greatest adventure of all. Watching hope spread across the world. Miran held the shard carefully. Its glow pulsed gently like a heartbeat that matched his own. He thought of the silent planet, of the golden path, and of the chamber that had trusted them. Its light was no longer hidden. It was now a part of Earth, a promise that darkness could be chased away. At night, the shard shone brighter than any lamp or sun. Cities remained warm and bright, streets full of golden glow. People slept with calm hearts, knowing that the light was steady, gentle, and eternal. Miran looked up at the sky and remembered the distant planet, the silver deserts and the crystal towers that had guided them here. We were chosen for a reason, he whispered, not for wealth, not for fame, but to carry the gift. And now it belongs to everyone. The travelers rested under the golden glow. Even in their dreams, the light followed them, humming softly, steady and alive. Miran smiled, thinking of the children who would never again fear darkness. Sira dreamed of cities filled with knowledge and wisdom. Ryan dreamed of hope spreading to every corner of the world. Dalen dreamed of rivers sparkling under golden skies. Days passed, and the golden light became part of Earth's life. Crops grew stronger, rivers became clear, and cities felt alive again. People shared the story of the golden light and the travelers who brought it from a distant world. Miran, Sira, Rian, and Dalen watched quietly, knowing the true story belonged to the chamber of the crystal sun, to the builders who had trusted them, and to everyone who now believed in hope. One evening, Miran walked outside and held the shard high. Its glow spread across the fields, over the mountains, and into the oceans. He felt the weight of responsibility and the warmth of trust. We are only the carriers, he said. The light belongs to all of humanity. It will shine as long as we honor it. Sira joined him, her eyes bright. It will shine forever, as a reminder that even in darkness, light waits to be found. Ryan placed a hand on Miran's shoulder. We have completed the journey. But the story is only beginning, Dalen smiled, and it will be told for generations. People will remember the day the world gained daylight from the stars. The golden shard pulsed softly in Miran's hands. Its light filled every heart, every city, and every field. Earth had been given hope, warmth, and life. The chamber of the crystal sun had entrusted humanity with its gift, and humans had proven themselves worthy. Miran looked up at the night sky, full of stars. Somewhere among them, the silent planet waited, watching its gift shine across Earth. And for the first time, Miran felt that humans were not only part of their own world, but part of the universe, chosen to carry light where it was needed most. The golden light continued to glow, steady and strong, a symbol of hope and promise for the future. Humanity had been given a gift beyond treasure, beyond gold. They had been given a chance to shine.